For 20 years, those tall evergreen bushes along my front yard were like my own little fortress in Willow Grove. Thick, green, whispering in the breeze, keeping the world at a respectful distance, especially from nosy neighbors like Karen Whitaker across the street. I'd planted them myself when I first moved in as a young teacher, watching them grow into this perfect shield of privacy, blocking out the glare from her overly perfect tulip beds that she treated like royalty. But one crisp fall morning I stepped out with my coffee, and there they were. Two guys with chainsaws hacking away at my bushes like they were public enemy number one, leaves flying everywhere, the air thick with that sharp, wounded wood smell. And standing there on her porch, arms folded, was Karen, smirking like she'd just won the lottery, her eyes saying, "Gotcha." It all started innocently enough, or so I thought. Karen, the iron-fisted president of our neighborhood association, had this obsession with uniform aesthetics. Some dusty rule in the bylaws capping fences and foliage at 6 feet, supposedly to keep everything looking tidy and communal. My bushes? They'd shot up to 12 feet over the decades, not bothering a soul, but they cast a shadow over her precious tulips in the afternoon, starving them of that golden light she swore made them bloom bigger than anyone else's, pure jealousy, if you ask me, mixed with her need to control every blade of grass in Willow Grove. She'd slipped a note under my door first, all polite on the surface. "Dear neighbor, a gentle reminder about our height guidelines. Let's keep Willow Grove beautiful together." No signature, but that flowery handwriting was hers, no doubt. I trimmed them down to 8 feet, figuring compromise was the adult thing. Heck, I'm a high school history teacher. I deal with teenage drama all day, didn't need more at home. But nope, that wasn't enough. Next came the official letter, stamped with the association seal, slapping me with a $75 daily fine until I remedied the obstruction. I called her up, voice steady as I could manage. "Karen, these bushes predate half the houses here. They're not hurting anyone." She cut in, all saccharine and sharp like honey on a razor. "Rules are rules, Henry. Equality for all, you know. And honestly, they're stealing the sun from my award-winning tulips. Full exposure is key, darling." Click. She hung up, leaving me stewing, the fine ticking like a bomb. Days blurred into frustration. I paced my living room, staring out at those faithful bushes, feeling this knot in my gut, like my sanctuary was under siege, not just from her, but from this whole petty power trip she wielded over the neighborhood. I almost caved, almost hired a trimmer myself to end it. But then that Tuesday hit like a thunderclap. The roar of engines outside, blades whirring, and I bolted to the window. Those landscapers weren't trimming, they were obliterating, chopping my 12-foot guardians down to ugly, bleeding stumps barely 2 feet high, branches piled like corpses on the lawn. I stormed out, heart pounding. "What the hell are you doing? This is my property." One guy paused, clipboard in hand. "Association order, sir. Non-compliant foliage, full removal." And there was Karen, hollering from her side. "You had warnings, Henry. This is on you. Now my tulips can breathe." Her voice dripped with that malicious glee, not just enforcement, but revenge, like she'd been waiting to humiliate me, to strip away my quiet life because my independence threatened her little kingdom. I stood there, helpless, the sun now blasting straight into my windows, exposing everything I'd kept private. The betrayal burned deep, turning grief into this slow-burning fury. No more playing nice. If she wanted war, she'd get it. That night, alone with a beer and my laptop, I dove headfirst into the trenches. Zoning laws, city codes, association loopholes, forums full of folks venting about overzealous HOAs like ours. Turns out, while they ruled over plants with an iron fist, permanent structures like brick walls fell under city jurisdiction, and in our district, you could go up to 7 feet without a special permit, as long as it was sturdy and on your line. A wall, not some flimsy fence, but solid brick. Untrimmable, unbreakable. Yeah, that'd do it. A fortress to replace my lost greens, blocking her view, her sun, her control. I sketched it out, calculated costs, even chatted anonymously with a city planner. Hypothetically, for privacy? "Go for it," he said. "Just build it right." Next morning, trucks rolled in. Pallets of red bricks, mortar bags, rebar, stacked boldly along the stump line. A declaration. Neighbors peeked out. Old Mr. Ellis next door chuckled. "Giving her a taste, eh?" Mrs. Patel waved supportively from her garden. "But Karen?" She exploded across the street, hands on hips. "Henry Larson, what is this abomination?" I wiped sweat, casual as could be. "A privacy wall, Karen. Since you murdered my bushes, figured something permanent was in order. She sputtered, face flushing. It's hideous. It'll ruin property values. Against our covenants. I smirked. Covenants cover landscaping, not city-approved builds. Checked it all. 7 feet. My land, my right. Her eyes narrowed to slits, that queenly facade cracking. This isn't over. You'll regret defying the community. The build became my obsession. I rented a mixer, learned to lay mortar smooth, hands blistering but heart steady, each brick a brick in my resolve, a quiet rebellion against her tyranny. The wall rose, course by course, gray mortar binding red bricks into an impenetrable shield, and with it, my confidence surged. I wasn't just the mild-mannered teacher anymore. I was fighting back. Karen ramped up her assaults. Daily notices for cluttered materials or unsightly debris, fines stacking like her grudges. She'd cruise by in her shiny SUV, glaring, whispering to cronies, "Look at that eyesore, ruining our harmony." I installed cameras, no trespassing signs, ignored it all, even found humor in it. Once, as she idled too long, I waved cheerily. "Admiring the view, Karen?" She sped off, fuming. Then the big guns, an emergency association meeting, where she pushed a new rule on aesthetic harmony, thrusting papers at me mid-build. "Stop now, Henry. This violates our fresh guidelines." Flanked by her nervous bored lackeys, she looked desperate. I glanced at the dock. "Passed yesterday? After I started? Nice try, but city codes trump your games. And honestly, after you shredded my privacy, what did you expect? Tulips?" The board shuffled feet. Even they saw her overreach, her personal vendetta shining through. Jealousy over my independence. Fear of losing her grip on Willow Grove's perfect facade. But she wasn't done. Oh no. Karen went nuclear, filing a city complaint. Unsafe structure, no inspections, shoddy foundation. Bam. Cease and desist in my mail, demanding halts, engineers, possible teardown. Her trap, designed to bankrupt me, forced surrender. I met with the zoning lady, Miss Ramirez, binder in hand. I built it right. Photos, receipts, all to code. She was unmoved. Without permits, it's risky. Demolish or pay up. Despair hit hard. I'd poured sweat and savings into this, only for her manipulation to weaponize the system. But digging through my garage, empty mortar bags, dated receipts, progress shots, a loophole sparked. For non-load-bearing walls, verifiable materials could waive full reviews. I prepped my case, heart racing. Inspector Day dawned tense. Mr. Gomez arrived, clipboard ready, Karen casually watering tulips, but eyes locked. I laid it out. Code sections here, batch numbers proving quality, photos of rebar in depth, built to last. He inspected, tapped bricks, even probed a spot, solid. Karen stormed over. "It's a monstrosity. Unsafe. Tear it down." Gomez turned. "Mrs. Whitaker, your complaint's detailed but exaggerated. Mr. Larson's evidence checks out. No violations, wall stays." She gasped, ashen. "But community standards." He shot back. "Wasting resources on false claims. That's the real issue." He drove off. I nodded at her, triumphant. Guess privacy wins. The wall stood tall, my fortress reclaimed, sun now hers to lose, her tulips wilting in shadow, her power cracked. Looking back, it changed me, from pushover to someone who stands ground. But man, was it worth the fight? Or did I escalate too far, turning a neighbor spat into a neighborhood legend? What do you think, HOAs? Protectors or petty tyrants? Drop your stories below, share if you've battled one, and hit like if you'd build that wall too. Let's chat in the comments.